Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me, the man in black, Grant Ramey of Volquest.com. Grant, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. I wish I had some more black on my chin and not so much gray. I got a rep to protect with my wardrobe, but I can't control the grayness on my facial hair. It's a sad state of affairs.
We're not doing this. I was talking to Shump and the Vols sports guys on Monday about it, because I think you're an early worrier about your hairline. We had this whole thing about you trying to join the balding community, but it's just something that we have voted. I have not gotten with Mike Wilson on this or Ben McKee, but I do need to circle back with them in the Bald Brotherhood here in Knoxville. But you're a little bit too much into where you're at hairline wise. You got a long way to go, like George from Seinfeld, where if I did the head examination, you're okay. Right. You got a lot of coverage for a long time. And now you're doing this whole gray and it's like, no, it's pretty good. It's fine, Grant.
Listen, if I took my head off right now, there'd be a lot of forehead on display. I got hair on top of my head. I just don't have hair on the front of my head. So, and if you saw my father, my brother, it's a whole, the hairline is for everybody. It affects everybody. It spares no man. So it's always.
But you're getting ahead of it. Like, you're just enjoy the time. Like George Costanza, live.
I kind of look forward to the day when it is just bald. I don't have to go get a haircut.
I'm documenting this. I am absolutely. Let me see. Bookmark.
Listen,
here.
I still
minute and 30
to this
in.
day, I heard about this conversation from my close friend Rhino Shuppert. I was not trying to do Ben McKee dirty.
Oh, you 100% did. You saw what you did.
No,
you still posted. You still saw the picture.
It was like
you know what you
2
did.
in Rep Arena on a Thursday night or something. I did not see what I was doing.
You posted, because the whole thing is like, you took the picture, you uploaded it to social media, so you saw it again.
I just hit the tweet button. That's it. Let it go. That's another thing. I'm getting to the boomer age where I don't understand technology and I just do stuff. And
you're not Bob Nightingale over here. Like you're making it seem like
I'm not a Bob Nightingale. I'm getting there pretty quick.
The real bald knowers know what we're talking about with
really.
Bob Nightingale on Twitter.com. It's great stuff. It's a tradition unlike any other. But we're only like 5 months away from his spring training picks, so I'm excited.
There's another guy on Twitter. I don't. Hoops Weiss. Do you follow Hoops Weiss on Twitter? Okay, well, he's been around. I mean, he's a legend in the game, college basketball.
Okay.
Reporter, years and years, and he's still around on Twitter.
Yeah,
and we have a tradition where we send his tweets to a group chat because whatever he's tweeting about happened roughly 96 hours ago. It was news at the time, but it'll be like Friday morning, and it's Max Gilbert got his foot stomped on by a UAB safety. This just in, and it's. I feel bad talking about it because he's done it better than I've ever going to do it in this industry. There's a certain reverence there, but also I have to acknowledge at some point that's going to be me, and there's going to be young people making fun of me. Probably right now that I'm the old guy in the room. So it's whatever.
Well, you had it coming with the Ben McKee shot.
Listen, I'll take that to my grave. Unintentional. I love Ben McKee. Ben, if you're listening, I love you. It's not
personal
intentional.
Foul, flagrant 2. It's. You know what I know, though? If I'm ever in a close vicinity of Grant Ramey, I'm keeping my head on a swivel. I'm looking for the phone. I'm looking for the camera, because you just don't know what he's up to. Like, you can't be trusted. You're out, man. And you've disrespected the ball community here in Knoxville.
This is slanderous.
It's not
slanderous.
It's for everyone to see on Grant Ramey's Twitter timeline, and y'all be the call of whether or not it was
You know why Mike Wilson's bald, right?
Outside of genetics, what's going on?
Outside of genetics, you remember when Tennessee went to Lawrence, Kansas, went to Fog Allen in I guess it was January 2020, right before COVID stuff, and we were there, and I can't remember what I was doing, but I took a picture of Mike, and he was like, "Wow, what's going on top of my head?"
What are you? You're a repeat offender.
Wait, no, I got my dates wrong. That was salt in the wound on that one. I realize now I'm not helping my case.
I was going to say, this is making it worse. You're showing that you've done this multiple times now.
No, here we go. I can prove this is not my fault. This was Columbus 2019 NCAA tournament, first weekend. Tennessee, Colgate, and Iowa. And I think it was the day between the two first and second round. Jordan Bowden walks by us in the bowels of whatever that is, Nationwide Arena, and Mike has this plaid shirt on, very vibrantly colored plaid shirt, and Jordan Bowden goes, "Man, you look like a picnic table." So I get my phone out to take a picture of this picnic table outfit, and Mike puts his head down to look at his outfit, and the top of his head is, facing the camera, and there's a lot of skin up there, and he's like, "Holy crap, I'm going bald." And ever since then, it was like a countdown to when he was going to have to get rid of what head of hair he had left.
I've never seen him with hair, because when I came on the beat and everything else, he had already gone bust. I've never seen him with hair.
There's images. I can send you some images. He had a good head of hair. It was gone on top. I had the opposite problem. I have hair on top of my head.
You don't have a problem.
Yes,
Grant.
I got a problem.
There's no problem.
Listen, I'm at church 2 weeks ago, and one of my buddy's kids says, "Why is your forehead so big?" And then another one of his daughters says, "Why don't you have any hair?" And she's pointing right here. And then the next week, this guy's got a lot of kids. One of the kids said, "Why do you have so many gray hairs?" And I said, "Because you and your siblings keep bullying me at church because of my appearance." So,
do you know why that's happening? It's because you're bullying everybody else who's losing their hair in the adult balding community here in Knoxville.
That's true. What goes around comes around. I've made my bed. Here I am laying in it, I guess.
And we'll get into some Tennessee stuff, I promise, folks. But it's funny because we all have that moment with Mike. I can empathize because my late 20s, because I lost it in the back first, so you don't really notice as much in the back. The back is kind of hidden. Yeah, it's kind of, and it's the angles matter. It's just, you can hide it. You can a good hairdresser can hide the back a little bit. You can do it. But I didn't realize how bad it was getting in the back, the donut hole back there. And a kid asked me at one of my jobs in my 20s, he came up to me and he asked me, he's like, "Why do you have a hole in the back of your head?"
Oh my goodness.
And you're like, kids are just curious. He was legitimately he was
from the mouth
something
of
was wrong.
babes.
Yeah.
From the mouth of babes.
And that was it. That was one of those where I'm like, "Oh, I'm cooked." That's
when the paranoia set in.
Yeah, you're like, "Uh-oh, this is who am I fooling anymore?" But you still got a long way to go, Grant Ramey.
Knock on wood. From your lips to God's ears. From the Chase Thomas podcast to God's ears.
That's many are saying. Grant Ramey, Volquest.com. We have some Tennessee stuff to talk about here. What is your biggest surprise about Tennessee football through 4 games?
Can I take the boring answer? That Joey has been Joey, that he's looked like the perfect fit, that how accurate he's been, the good decision maker that he's been, how quickly he seemed to process, the fact that he looked really good against Georgia, just like he looked really good against ETSU, UAB, Syracuse. I was particularly impressed with the way he bounced back from that second and third quarter against Georgia, where it was he's a little bit off, and it looked like he was going through a little bit of a slump. Braylon Say falls down, he throws that pick. For him to snap out of it and play really well in the fourth quarter, I thought that was a huge deal. I've just been impressed how it's felt like he's been really exactly what this offense needed, and you keep waiting for that to, maybe it's different on the road at Mississippi State when he's in his first true road environment at this level, but I mean, he's played against some Power 5 competition at App State, so we'll see what he looks like. But just the decision-making, the accuracy, how he's been exactly what Tennessee needed.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously a big Merklinger guy. It's been tough.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. We all got to pick sides,
I'm still rooting for the kid. But yeah, it's just I'm part of the Aggle Army now. It's just part of the deal. It's what we've seen is like you said. I did not think it was going to go well. I think the people who can do their victory lap are the ones who were like, "Hey, the thing about Joey is the biggest win for him is that he's just not going to start from behind so much. The defense, just having the talent around him is helping him in a way where he's still going to be that same aggressive guy who's throwing for over 7,000 yards, but he doesn't have to go full Brett Favre. Right now he's been the fun Brett Favre, where it's just the best case scenario. Now we'll see what that looks like. Maybe on the road at Tuscaloosa, maybe on the road this Saturday. Do the picks pop up more? Because I still think there's a strong chance he leads Tennessee quarterbacks in the Hypolair and interceptions by the end of the season. I think that's still probably on the table, but he's not going to lead FBS in interceptions like he did a year ago, which got cleaned up. And I mean, Joey's just been a great story, great leader. And it is kind of wild how you take it all for granted. But I will say, I don't know if you agree, but on the surprise, it's positive for me. I was getting really bummed out about the tight end 12 personnel talk all offseason, where everyone was talking about like, oh, the 12 personnel, the 4 tight ends. Tennessee feels really good about it. I'm like, all right, well, Tennessee loses big games where Miles Kitselman is their leading pass catcher. I don't think that's the best version of Heupel's offense. So if we're back in 12 personnel again, the defense is not going to be as good as it was a year ago.
Right.
And I just think you're looking at 8-4. Now, not Grant Ramey. Grant Ramey had 10-2 before the year, which I still
he's an idiot though.
Very, very. I just still one of the more wild things I've seen in the preview where I was like, that was a stutter. Grant Ramey over there at Volquest, 10-2. I love it. But I didn't love what I was hearing there because I still think the best version of Tennessee is like their secondary. The tight ends are secondary in the passing game. They are where Kitselman's had a couple crossers in these big games. You're like, all right, yeah, 3 receptions, 35 yards, maybe a TD. That's really all you want out of the tight end position. You need Brazel, Staley, and Matthews and your receivers to make the chunk plays, to create the big splash plays. And that's the best version of Tennessee football. So for me, like that has been a huge win to me, that Tennessee's tight ends are not a big part of the season. Like I know a lot of fans are like, oh, Ethan Davis not up there. It's great blocking tight end. It's great. Like, I don't really care. Like, I think that's got to be secondary. I think the best version of Tennessee has to be the receivers getting back on track and making plays similar to what we saw in 22 and 21.
They have been fantastic.
Yes. Brazel I've never been more wrong about anybody than Chris Brazel.
I mean, knock on wood, they stay healthy because they are so thin there, but we were recording a mailbag podcast the other day, and one of the questions was, who has the higher ceiling, Braylon Staley or Mike Matthews? And the fact that you can ask that question a month in, and it's a really tough question to answer, like you're splitting hairs, that tells you how good those two have been. And you're not even talking about Chris Brazel, who's caught 47 touchdowns in the last 27 minutes. I mean, it feels like all these guys, all 3 of those guys have stepped up and have been huge. And that was one of the biggest question marks you had going into the season. A, they're super thin there. And B, they're not really guys that have been leaned on or, not much experience among them. Brazel had a couple touchdowns last year, had that big touchdown catch against Alabama. But outside of that, it was like you kept waiting for him to emerge as that big name guy that out of the portal that they got out of Tulane. And now he's starting to look like that. I agree with tight ends. They're more like just pop out on that little jump pass on the goal line and catch a touchdown at the back of the end zone and call it a day. And Kitselman his value is far outside just catching footballs. Like the leader that he's been and kind of what he's been since he got here. He's another guy that's just a really, really good portal find. I mean, when he committed, I had to Google who he was. And then I thought when I did find out who he was, that it was just kind of going to be another body that they were adding to the room. So I do agree that they get up and down the field with the receivers. If those tight ends can just do stuff on the goal line, then that's great. But the 3 receivers, that's another one. It's almost like you could pick on the offensive line, the quarterback, the receivers. There's a lot of surprises to pick from in a good way, positive developments.
I'll still maintain. Look, Mike is my guy, fellow Parkview alum. I wish he would flip to safety.
Really?
He's the 3rd guy. You need so much help at safety right now. And he would be so much more.
Who's replacing him at receiver?
Oh, just Travis Smith. It's fine.
Think so?
Oh, yeah. That's what I would do.
I would feel better about that if Rodarius Jackson was healthy. He wasn't going to be out for I don't know how long, but I think he's been in a sling lately. I don't know. Mike is.
I mean, now it's obviously not realistic now. I'm just saying, like, before the year, like, just based on where Tennessee's needs are, Mike being on defense, and I still will maintain, I think Boo's a better offensive player than he is anywhere else. Like if Boo, because he's just such a hard guy to tackle. Like he's just a natural playmaker that
just get the ball in space.
Yeah, like I just feel like they're playing the wrong side of the ball, both of them.
I think Boo could be a little bit of a Zachariah Branch, the way Georgia used him. Just get the ball as quickly as you can to him, out in space, run him motions, all this stuff across the middle.
Yep.
Just try to beat somebody to a spot and get him the ball and let him go from there.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know. I think a lot of fans get kind of, but I'm like, look, I love Mike. And obviously I'm a big Boo guy, but yeah, just my gut all the last year has just been, I think they're playing the wrong positions. I think they each should be on the opposite side of the field, but we'll see. Next up, does Jermod getting Jermod back for Arkansas change how you view the Vols the rest of the way? Because that's kind of a stunner. It's because we were kind of wondering, are we actually going to see Jermod back at all this year? And Colton Hood, I mean, he's getting forecast as a first round guy now. I mean, they've back-to-back humongous wins in the portal at corner. But if you're able to make Ty, who's been good as a plug-and-play true freshman, but if he's able to slide into number 3 and just not have nearly as much pressure on him and get Jermod back, I mean, that is huge for Tennessee to get him back in the third SEC game. Because it was one of those where we're like, are we even sure we're going to get him back for Bama? Are we sure he's going to come back at all this year? Because I was 8-4 before the year. Like, that's something that can get me to 9-3, 10-2, depending on how things go this weekend in Starkville. But what do you think?
I think it's huge. I think it helps your defensive line that needs a little bit of help right now. I think it helps your linebackers that need a little help right now. And it's already the defense isn't the 2024 defense, and they don't have to be because this isn't the 2024 offense in terms of points and production and fast starts and all that stuff. But it's huge because Ty Redmond is going to be way better down the line because of what he's had to do this first month of the season. But there's also times where you're going to get picked on, like we saw with Georgia going straight at him as soon as that game started. And that's a top 10 pick, I think, in projections, Jermod McCoy, at least top half of the first round. Seems like a consensus. So that's the kind of talent he has. And you've seen nothing from Colton Hood to make you think that he can't continue to be a standout corner. And, I think he's being projected, like you said, as well as a possible first rounder in the future. So that's huge. I mean, that's the two toughest positions to play on the defense, either side of the cornerback on either side of the field. And if you can have lockdown solutions at those positions, it just makes everybody else better. I mean, Jalen McMurray frees him up. Maybe your safety plays better because of what you have at corner. So that would be, it feels like almost like a free agent addition if he does come back or whenever he does come back. How quickly he plays a full load of snaps, I don't know. We'll see. But it feels like you're adding a huge free agent in the middle of the season after you've already been pretty impressive as a football team through the first month.
I'm pumped about it. I wish we got him this weekend, but I'll take 2 weeks after the bye and then getting him ready for Bama. Because I just think even if he's like 85% of what he was a year ago as he ramps up, Jermod and Colton, from what we've seen, I mean, that is just one of the best cornerback tandems, not just in the SEC, but in college football as a whole. That is big, big time.
I know safety play gets picked apart, and it can be frustrating because that's the last line of defense, and they're not playing well in space and all this stuff. It's more magnified when a safety struggles versus some other positions on the field. But, man, Willie Martinez in cornerback play at the University of Tennessee, dating back to his first time here, I mean, Emmanuel Mosley, Justin Coleman, Cameron Sutton. Now you're talking about Jermod McCoy. You're talking about Colton Hood. There's been some guys here that he has found and developed at corner. It's a very hard position to play. It's a very hard position, I would assume, to recruit and scout because of how difficult the position is to start with. So the success that he's had there over a couple different stints here has been pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Basketball. Grant Ramey. Practice is back. Rick Barnes meeting the media this week. And look, I saw Cade Phillips did an ad, and he called himself a small forward this week. So I don't know if he tipped his hand a little bit here, but many are saying still shooting guard questions for Cade Phillips. Getting the 3-pointers up. We'll see if Cade's a 2 out of the gate for Rick Barnes against Duke. Who says no? But what is your biggest preseason storyline for Tennessee basketball now that it's back?
Well, can I again be boring and take the boring, obvious answer? I mean, it's got to be Nate Ament, and how much does he kind of pick up where DK left off or pick up where Chaz left off, just in terms of production and scoring, and how much the ball is going to be in his hand and how much he's going to be relied on? Because it's one thing for Dalton Connect, a guy that had played a lot of basketball by the time he got here. Same with Chaz Lanier. Both of those guys were, pretty incredible basketball players. But can an 18-year-old do that? Obviously, he's not just your standard regular 18-year-old. He's a guy that's already projected to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft next year. So obviously, he's got that kind of talent, that kind of skill set. But just how good is he consistently from the jump? Like, how quickly do we see that kind of talent on display? How many minutes is he playing a night? How well does he hold up over the course of a college basketball season? Like, all the talent's there. He's got the highest ceiling of just about anybody in America, but you still got to see it happen. You still got to watch it unfold to be like, all right, this is going to happen.
It's going to happen, Grant. I've looked into the clairvoyant Chase future and feel pretty good. Feel pretty good about Nate Ament. It's going to happen. Jacoby Gillespie, I'll feel really awkward about because I think because I love Zakai, but I think a lot of Vol fans are going to struggle with this because you want to be respectful, and he's obviously all-time great, but I do think Tennessee upgraded at point guard this year. I think the best version of Jacoby is better than Zakai. And I still love Zakai, but it's hard because you're like, the odds of replacing Zakai with an upgrade, probably pretty, you did not think that was on the table. But Jacoby, not just the 40% shooting, it's just all around. Like, I think there's something more because like Zakai he had a lot of clutch shots, but Zakai, especially, what's going to help Nate Ament is the best version of Jacoby is still going to be someone who can close, someone who's still comfortable with the ball in his hands late in games. He's played in a lot of big games. Obviously, was part of the Crab Five last year, and an older player who should really help Nate Ament and to keep the pressure off him where he does not have to be the number one option on this Vols team all year and can kind of ease into it. I just think Zakai was more of a passer. Like, he was still someone who, he was looking to find open shooters like Dalton and Chaz and company. Like, he wanted to distribute more than anything. And I think Jacoby, it's not that Jacoby's going to be a ball hog or anything, but Jacoby is such a willing shooter and scorer that Tennessee has not had that really since Kennedy years ago. And I think Kennedy was just, you and Kennedy, I'm a big Kennedy Chandler guy. He was fantastic. Maybe the best point guard in the country that year. So I think Jacoby can unlock so much for this group and take so much pressure off everybody from 2 down to 5. And I can't wait to watch Jacoby Gillespie play basketball for Tennessee because I just think he can be, he's going to go up against Braden Smith and some other big time All-American guard potentials. But I don't want to put the pressure of Walter Clayton here, but he has a high ceiling for Tennessee.
I don't think it's unfair to say that about Zakai and to say that about Jacoby because Jacoby's a really, really good point guard. I don't, and also to go back to Kennedy Chandler, I don't think I think how you end the year or how season ends just paints the picture for that team, and the way that season ended, that awful loss to Michigan in Indy, whatever that was, a 3-11 game, something like that, just kind of distorts that whole season where Kennedy was a star. He was the best 5-star that Rick has ever had at Tennessee in terms of production and living up to the hype and living up to the billing, won the SEC tournament and all that stuff. So respect Kennedy Chandler. He was really, really good. But yeah, I think Jacoby can be that kind of guy. I don't think it's unfair to say that he can play just as well as Zakai, if not better, when he gets going and all that stuff. You have to think about how fortunate Rick Barnes has been and Tennessee basketball has been, because Dalton Connect has no ties to Tennessee, but they get him here, and he's the portal find of all portal finds, a generational talent. And then you're looking the next year, how are we going to replace Dalton Connect? Well, here comes Chaz Lanier, this guy from Nashville who just happened to go off at North Florida the season before and the most efficient scorer in college basketball and all that stuff. And he wants to come to Tennessee because he's a Tennessee fan, and he does what he did last year. He breaks the 3-point record, all that stuff, Chris Lofton records that nobody ever thought was going to be broken. And then you lose Zakai, and you think, how in the world are we going to replace Zakai? And then Kevin Willard goes to Villanova, and suddenly Jacoby Gillespie, Greenville native, who went to Belmont, who another Tennessee fan who talked about watching Scotty Hobson all those years ago, just falls into your lap. And Tennessee, he told Rick on a recruiting visit at the arena, he said, "You don't know how long I've dreamed of playing on this court." Like, that's what that basketball program means to him. And not only that, he's one of the best point guards in the country. He's one of the most productive guys. He's climbed the ladder. He went to Belmont. He went to Maryland. Now he's back at Tennessee. I think there's something to be said for those guys that have to take the long way to get where they want to be, and they're different for it. Joey Aguilar is different for it because he had to go to JUCO, to App State, to back to UCLA, to get traded in for Nico, all that stuff. DK had to go to JUCO, had to go to Northern Colorado, had to climb his way up. He wasn't scared of anybody by the time he got to Tennessee because he had earned his spot. I think Jacoby probably feels that same way. Like, he started at Belmont, he started at Maryland, now he's ready to start at Tennessee. And it's tough because Zakai was so beloved, one of the most beloved Tennessee basketball players to ever wear that uniform. But at the same time, Jacoby is going to be a really good point guard, and Tennessee is very, very fortunate for a third year in a row to find that guy in the portal that they had to have to fill that spot.
100%. Buy or sell, Grant Ramey? I've got Shump on this now.
Okay.
JP Estrella, breakout season.
Buy it.
Okay.
I think people saw the stuff about his ankle the other day and like, oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah.
A big man and a foot injury or whatever. He was a fine 100% participant based on everything we saw the first day of practice. He had the ankle taped. It's not the foot issue that ended up having surgery last November and all that stuff. So I think he's healthy. Knock on wood that he stays healthy because he's a really good basketball player. Rick said during the summer that he was playing the best basketball of his career before he rolled that ankle. So I think once he gets back to that, he'll get kind of back on track, and Tennessee needs that productive big man. They've got some good options down there, but they need somebody with JP's skill set to do what JP can do. So yeah, I would buy that.
I am very curious what his best back or front court mate, who it actually is going to be, because Barnes is going to be he's going to have some options, health permitting, to, I mean, hopefully we don't do the Felix Akpara, Ben Wallace throw that. Like, do you remember early on where I'm just like, I'm losing my mind in the group chat where I'm like, what are we doing? Are we doing the Ben Wallace stuff? Because I remember the bad boy Pistons where, to keep Ben Wallace engaged, they threw first thing they would throw it down to Ben and let him go to work and be like, all right, there you go. All right, now back to the thing we need you to do for the rest of these 46 minutes here. But Felix is, I mean, it's just no respect. Felix is a really good player at what he does. Like, he is a good rim running, defense first guy. Like, he's really good at what he is meant to be as a role player. But JP is different. JP is like the only one who has a back. Like, JP is the only one who can unlock a lot of stuff with interior scoring that Tennessee definitely did not have last year and has not had in a while. I wonder how Barnes balances that, who the right front court mates are for him, how he kind of hides and helps JP get comfortable, and how much he lives with some JP defensive issues, right? Like, can you, to make sure his confidence is up, how much do you, because I mean, eventually he earned, like, Dalton Connect, like he lived with Dalton's defensive efficiencies because and I'm not saying JP's gonna be Dalton, it's just JP might always be more of an offense guy than defense. And it's like, Barnes, I mean, he's gotten better as the years have gone on, but it's one of those, how do you balance, hey, yeah, he's going to drive me nuts sometimes on defense, but like he really helps us in scoring and really helps us in other ways that I kind of have to live with certain parts of his game. Well,
the last time we saw JP in a real competitive environment was that Elite Eight game against Purdue. Not to bring up bad memories, but
he played great.
Jonas Adu went missing, and they basically just threw JP into the fire, and he went to war with Zach Edey. Zach Edey obviously put up the numbers he put up in that game and had his way, but there are a lot of possessions where JP was battling for a true freshman at the time who had no business being on the floor, especially against that dude of all dudes. So that was impressive. So I think he's shown that he can stand up defensively when he has to. We'll see what it looks like in November and October and stuff like that, when it's not the Elite Eight and when it's not the NCAA tournament. But yeah, I think people have asked me kind of what the overall expectations are for this team, and it's because of guys like JP, and I think there's 9 new guys on the roster this year. It's kind of the same thing every year in college basketball. It feels like for everybody, but you just never know how they're going to fit together until you see them on the court and try to start fitting them together and what the rotations look like and who's playing with who and all that kind of stuff. So I think JP is one of the biggest factors in that. What do these pieces look like and how do they fit together, and what's the ceiling of this basketball team? Because if JP does have a breakout year, that changes things a lot, because you feel like you should know what you have in Jacoby Gillespie. You feel like you should know what you have in Nate Ament, even though he is a freshman. But all the rankings and 5 stars and stuff that goes next to his name. But what's the forwards look like? Felix, he's going to catch a lot of lobs. He's going to play defense, block some shots. And bad news, the old man in charge on campus loves just dumping it down into the post to start a possession every time. We want to play inside out. He says it all the time. So that's bad news for you. But like, how do those pieces fit together? I mean, and JP is one of the biggest question marks in that. Yeah, it's like the WrestleMania gif from Rock Cena. That's me versus Rick when it comes to dumping it inside early on, where I'm like, we're just burning possessions. Like, you know how this ends, Rick. You know where this is going. I appreciate the stubbornness, but yeah, I mean, with JP, I'm okay with it. Start off inside out. Let me see what he can do. Jalen Carey, we'll see what he can do inside. Felix, no, we don't have to do that. Like, we don't. But maybe that's how you keep Felix engaged for the rest of the game. Like, maybe the good news, you just laid out there's 3 options, and you're okay with 66.6% of the options. So chances are it's going to be all right. It's true. It's still TBD on Jalen Carey. I don't know what Jalen Carey's going to be. He's a huge. Hard to figure out. Yeah, like how many minutes
is the right amount for him. The
Huge
foul
body,
stuff. Yeah.
very impressive against Tennessee last year. It feels like Tennessee went out and got him just based on those 2 games that he played against Tennessee.
Yeah.
There's a very funny, he did a media session over the summer, and he was basically like trying to talk about those Vanderbilt games, but he was getting confused on how to say we or us and who he was referring to. That's like Tennessee. It's like college basketball in a nutshell, or I guess college athletics, where you're trying to figure out who to reference in the past because maybe you played for that other team.
I mean, words don't matter. Jordan Matthews talking about also being on the winning side for Vanderbilt. And you're like,
what are we even talking about?
Like
he got in an actual portal and went back to 1926, and he was like, "Yep, Vanderbilt's the winning side of this rivalry."
Got to get Noah Taylor on this.
I mean, they won what? They've won like 30 games against Tennessee. Like 19 of them were before 1926. General Neyland was literally hired to beat Vanderbilt, to fix that series. Like, what are you talking about, Jordan?
Like, you didn't have to say it. Like, there's a way to frame like what, like being excited. Like, there's a lot of different ways to kind of get the point across he's trying to make of like it's competitive. Like, but that's not it.
And Vanderbilt doesn't have to talk about Tennessee right now because Vanderbilt's 4-0 and they're ranked 18th, and they whipped Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, and they whipped South Carolina in that Williams-Brice Stadium. Like, you're a good football team. Just be a good football team.
It's just tough. Final thing here.
Very random. I could not have been more surprised to just see that quote pop up.
Yeah, because it's just
this week of all weeks. I don't know. Whatever.
We're all just saying things. Like, it's just one of those where
right.
We're just saying things. You're like, that's not stuff. Okay. All right, no one's going to call him on it and just be like, no? Okay. All right. Sure. Final thing here. Cade Phillips plays the most amount of minutes at which spot, 1 through 5 this season? What's your prediction?
The 4. I don't know. I think the 3 thing is getting...
I mean, not 1 or 2? Lead point guard, Cade Phillips?
No 1. I would be very surprised if he played 2. 3, I think 3 is just going to spell Nate Ament every now and then, like 7, 8 minutes, whatever. So I don't think that's going to be a big deal, even though we did go to practice the other day and they split up between guards and forwards to start practice, and he was with the guards. So I guess that's going to continue. I haven't seen it in his game, and I'm not trying to disrespect the kid or anything like that, but I just haven't seen it in his game to play away from the basket, to play in space with the ball in his hand. The 3-point shot, I know he's shot a ton of them, but it doesn't look exactly natural to me. I could be dead wrong. I don't know. But Rick he kind of resorts to his comforts as the season goes on. And I think his comfort level is going to be knowing what you got out of Cade, and maybe he'll get a couple minutes there where they play a big lineup and he's at the 3. I just don't think it's going to be that prolonged as much as it's been talked about during the offseason. If that makes sense. Like Ethan Berg. We talked to Ethan Berg the other day. And
is it back to Ethan and not Aton?
He's going with Ethan just so it's easier for everybody. I think when he's home, it's Aton. When he's the Americanized version of it, it's just Ethan, just to make it easier on everybody.
So is it flip from Vescovy, where it's just
it's a Vescovy situation in reverse. We're dealing with it on the front end instead of 2 years down the line. But I was like, there's questions about the 2 guard, like who's going to be that 2 guard? Is it Amari Abram? Is it whoever? But I was sitting there listening to Ethan Berg talk, and he's like, I want to be good defensively. I feel like I'm pretty good defensively. I just want to do whatever I need to do to help the team win. He's talking about being 23 years old and playing basketball for the last 4 years professionally and all this stuff. And I thought, this sounds like a guy that Rick Barnes is going to lean on just because of that maturity and that experience. Because Rick tends to lean on the guys that he thinks he can trust, the guys that have been around. I think I don't know. I don't know what Ethan Berg's going to be. I've seen him for 30 minutes on the court at practice one day. I don't know what he's going to look like, but I think he's a guy that I came away thinking Rick kind of usually falls back on those kind of guys. And I think the same thing with Cade, where he'll fall back to what he's seen from Cade more than maybe what if Cade could do at a different position.
Yeah, I think Berg's going to end up getting the most amount of start to the 2. I don't know if it starts off that way because he is a late guy, but I do feel like he ultimately, because I think the best version of Tennessee is like he runs with it, like just with where you talk about the age, but also the big game basketball he's played. Like if you're able to run out with Jacoby and him to help out Ament, like that's the best version. I mean, Amari Abram, I think you want him the 6th man. Like you want him to be a jolt off the bench with some scoring, who's not afraid to take some big shots when things get clogged up in the half court. Like he is someone who is fearless when it comes to shooting. And he's just, I don't know. To me, he's just like a J.R. Smith for this group. Like I want him off the bench and helping to jolt if you need a boost, like what you hoped you would get from Dubar last year, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what you want from Abram off the bench. And I don't think the best version of Tennessee is him playing 30 plus minutes of the two.
No, I would agree. We did watch Rick. The practice we saw over the summer, Rick was just going after that dude, and usually Amari Abram being that dude. And when you see Rick going after somebody, it's because Rick thinks he's got to help us. So like it's almost a good thing if you're getting attacked by Rick Barnes in an off-season workout because he sees potential in you that you can help this basketball team. I think he could be a little bit of a Lamonte, where Lamonte was never scared to take any shot. Didn't matter. Rick Barnes could tear him down 5 seconds later, and it wouldn't matter. He'd be taking that shot on the next possession. Let's see, a Kevin Balkman, was that his name? Year one, Rick Barnes, 15-16. Wore number 34. I think he wore a brace. He was a guy that was just never afraid to shoot the basketball. He did not care what Rick was yelling to him about the basketball. So he's got to be one of those types. And yeah, the best version of that is not 30 minutes a night. It's 15 minutes off the bench or 18 or whatever as a six man, and see what you can do. But that's the biggest question for me going into this thing is what do they look like at the two guard? Who gets the starts there? Who plays the most minutes there? How's it all fit together?
Grant Ramey, what could the good folks check out from you and the team over at Volquest.com this week?
It is football season. If you haven't heard, Tennessee's going to Mississippi State, obviously. What's this team look like on the road? I'll be there. I'll be there with amongst all the cowbells. Haven't been there since 2012, which is crazy to think about, especially on the heels of the SEC just releasing their new schedule where everybody goes everywhere once every 4 years. So that's crazy to think about. But excited to see what this team looks like on the road. But man, it's football nonstop. Basketball's a month away. Just about 4 weeks away before they play Duke in a sold-out exhibition game. Imagine that, a sold-out exhibition game. It's
not on TV or anything, is it?
They haven't announced anything yet. I would assume it gets something at some point because it's already sold out. Are you comfortable live streaming
from your personal Twitter account? So
if I live stream from where we sit, you would be like, you cannot see anything from this view. Why do you sit there? Because that's what they give us. We can't see the rim. We're behind one of the baskets. We can't see the rim because of the backboard. So we just kind of have to wait and see if the ball bounces to see if it goes in or based on the crowd reaction. It's a lot of fun.
Oh man. Yeah. I just, my whole thing is like, they got to fix we got the new video board this year, but the sound has to go. Like maybe it's just I'm old and I have super sensitive ears, but the sound's got to go. Like you're keeping me away, Tennessee Athletics, from TBA because
the volume.
It's just too loud.
Very loud in there.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't need tinnitus for the next 2 days.
It's like 90 minutes before a game against Northeastern State on a Tuesday in November, and it is just blaring in there.
100%.
Let's just relax a little.
Like my wife and I were at a Lady Vols game early on last year, and I was like, what are we doing? Like Tennessee's, I forgot who they were playing. It was someone small, but it was just, what are we doing? Why is this blasting? Like, what are we doing? Like this is not necessary.
How did we get here as a society?
Yeah, like who's this for? Who is this for? Well, Grant Ramey, go subscribe, Volquest.com. Safe travels this weekend, my friend, and we will check back in again very soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we're back here on the Chase Thomas podcast, where I am now joined by old friend, Talk Sports co-host / producer.
Pro host. We'll go pro host.
Pro host of Talk Sports from 8 to 11, Monday through Friday, right there on FANRUN Radio and Fox Sports Knoxville. It's Sam Beard back, kind of growing a beard. Is that, are we leaning into it? I feel like I see some scruff right now.
I got a little bit of scruff right now. Probably gonna be shaving it off probably tonight, to be quite honest with you. Just didn't really get to it this weekend, and I just kind of let it roll. So I don't know, maybe like winning streak, start something here after the Georgia game or something like that. I don't know. Maybe if we beat down Mississippi State this weekend, I might have to just keep it or something.
There you go. Have you done a full beard before?
I get like the neck beard, and I just it doesn't.
The neck's not great.
It doesn't
like
work.
You want to leave the neck.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Now I can do like a goatee, but there was a point where a couple years ago where I couldn't connect on like the side on one part.
Yeah.
Looked insane. It looked like I like clipped the side of my the goatee, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
My problem too is like it's like the half blonde, like half brown, doesn't exactly like show up all that well type of thing. So yeah, it's got to go here soon.
I'm getting grays now. So the hairs that I am, I mean, it's just life
that.
comes at you fast, man. Not only do I lose my hair, and then I'm getting grays when I do have stuff grow back. It's pretty tough. My wife's a big fan, though. She loves finding my gray hairs.
There we go. There we go.
It is what it is.
Silver lining, right?
Oh, man. We do what we can here, Sam Beard. Well, it's good to see you, my friend. And I'm excited to talk some Tennessee. I mean, it's a great day for Tennessee because David Sanders, who fans wake up every day wondering about what's going on with David Sanders, are going to potentially see him get some snaps here on Saturday. It looks like he's going to be available with the reporting today. But what say you about David Sanders? What would you like to see for Sanders on Saturday, and how big of a deal is it for this game in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge deal, and I think more just for the season as a whole, obviously. And I think it will be kind of an interesting dynamic so far just in this game because your offensive line has been really, really solid so far for you. And even with the guy starting in Sham Umarov that a lot of people kind of thought was going to be one of those swing pieces or kind of backup guys and maybe thought, hey, like Jesse Perry's just going to kind of put a Band-Aid on that right side. And as soon as we get David Sanders, it'll all be fine. But obviously Jesse Perry has looked really, really solid on that right side. And I think now it just kind of is more talk about getting to that ceiling of what that offensive line really can be. And I think, you know, sliding Wendell Moy back to that left guard spot that he's a little more comfortable at and letting Perry still be on that right side, but just putting him into that guard spot where he practiced in the offseason, and then getting your 5-star talent onto that right tackle spot and being able to kind of have just book in 5-star tackles between him and Hurd, I think it's huge. And for an offensive line that's already being really successful at protecting Joey Aguilar, I think it can only help you going forward. I do think it's going to be very interesting just to kind of see how much of David Sanders do you see, because I do think you haven't really had any reason to go out there and say, hey, we need to switch up this offensive line because it's been successful so far.
And the last part I think is most interesting here, right? Because, I mean, Sham unfortunately had the tough penalty against Georgia. And I think he is a great swing player, right? Like, I don't know if he's the long-term answer at any of the one positions in particular, but I do think he is great for depth. Like, Sham Umarov has developed really well. It's another success story for Glenn Ellerby, formerly a tackle from Denmark High School in Forsyth County back in the home state. I mean, he's developed really well, but this is an upgrade potentially when you can be able to mix and match a little bit more. But I kind of wonder, you have to be kind of careful with what you do on the road here, because it's going to be like, you know, how the communication has been sometimes when Tennessee moves, and like you saw Oklahoma last year where, and I understand the defensive line is not the same with Mississippi State, but you saw the rotation at right tackle and where you're at with Lance Hurd on left tackle, and you're like, all right, we got to go into a shell. Like, the offensive line was not working. You were throwing a lot of different tackles out there. Larry Johnson was getting a lot of snaps. Like, it was just kind of, I don't know. We don't know who our best 5 is right now. And obviously that was a pretty good indicator of where the offensive line was going to be, especially in pass pro for the rest of the year. But I do kind of wonder how you balance this, because yeah, he needs some snaps, but like, it's not as simple. You just throw him in and everybody else is the exact same. You talked about it. Like, does Moy go to left guard, or do you keep him at right to help David Sanders a little bit? Because you don't want to throw a true redshirt freshman right guard in Jesse Perry next to a true freshman David Sanders. Like, are you sure you want to do that in their first road SEC start? So I am very, very curious how this all works, because I think after the bye and everything else, like Arkansas, it seems like we're getting a lot of, I mean, Hobbs, maybe even Jermod, it looks like it's a big week for the bye week for Tennessee and a lot of guys. But with Sanders, I do kind of wonder how much they actually play him here. I guess it probably depends on the flow of the game and how Tennessee's playing, but you gotta be careful, because you don't really know who your best 5 is right now and what the right order is. And you don't want to be figuring that out in the middle of a road SEC game. Yeah,
it feels like the group that you kind of have going right now, I'd give them like, I don't know, B+ grade overall. Like, very, very solid group that's not going to get you in trouble necessarily, and you don't feel like he's going to go lose you a ball game. And so I do think it is kind of an interesting balance between, hey, you don't want to just keep your 5-star that has been just the cream of the crop guy just in that class, just sideline necessarily, but also I do think that's maybe a little bit, I don't know if irresponsible is the word, but just to think that like you just insert him and everything's just going to be going just as fine as it has already. But I also think there's an element to, hey, 5-star talent. Sometimes you just kind of have to see if they can sink or swim or not, you know, and going into kind of that big road test and playing against SEC competition. It's not going to get any easier for him as the season goes on. And so if he feels healthy and if you feel like he's prepared in the right ways, I probably would go out there and at least rotate him in. Maybe it's not for the entire game, but making sure that he can see the field and can kind of get his feet wet just a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder if I would, because you wouldn't start him, right? Like, I'm not starting Sanders in the spot. You got to see where you're at, but I also just but then there's part of me, it's like, maybe you start him in the third quarter and like to just throw a different look out there. I mean, so much of it is just how the game is going. Like Tennessee, I mean, in a perfect world, Tennessee's up like 24-7 in the third quarter, and you're like, we feel pretty good. So let's throw in David and we're okay. But I don't know. Offensive line's different. It's not like running back where you can, okay, Peyton Lewis missed a game and now we just put him back in for his 7 to 8 touches and we're fine. Like you can work other positions in slowly. The offensive line doesn't really work like that. And all right, man. Well, I don't know if you want to do, because we were all worried about doing a welcome to the college football against Georgia, if that was what we were going to do. But this is still, I mean, Mississippi State's a much improved defensive line from a year ago. Obviously, they went heavy in the portal. It's been a lot more beefing up their defensive line. And I don't know. I think you want to get him some snaps and get him ready, but you also don't want him to destroy his confidence as well. I mean, I'm excited nonetheless, but this is why Glenn Ellerby and the staff make a lot of money, right? They got to figure this out.
Yeah. And I do think, like, to your point, kind of about switching those guards around, to me, that would be more of a concern. Like, I feel good about David Sanders being able to go in there and hold his own. But I do think, to your point, kind of about offensive line continuity and just knowing and playing next to some of these guys, like switching those spots all of a sudden on the road in an SEC environment with the cowbells rolling and everything. Like, you do wonder if that's a move that you want to make like right now, or if it's just say, hey, let's get one more game under our belt with just this offensive line that's got us here, and then we'll acclimate Sanders in from there.
I wonder if you keep Moy at right guard and you move Perry to left guard. Like, I wonder if that's the rotation.
In the summer at left at all?
Yeah, and
okay.
Moy can do both. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like we know Moy can do both. So it's like, I partly
match up like veteran and young guy on each side.
Right. Like, I do get a little worried about Perry and Sanders being asked to hold up on the right side by themselves, especially with center also being kind of shaky here. Sure. I mean, that's center on. I don't know. I don't love Pendleton to Perry to Sanders in their first road SEC game. Like, that kind of scares me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do think that that's kind of an element of it that has started to become a little bit more of like a trend more than just kind of an exception in some of these. Like, you've seen some errant snaps from Pendleton, and you've seen maybe just some missed assignments and run fits and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I do think that's kind of one that's in the back of my mind right now, just hoping that it doesn't continue on throughout the season.
Yeah, Pendleton's the sneaky one here on the road. Is like, no one's talking about center and Pendleton and some of these snaps, but I'm like, all right, like, that's one I just have filed away, where when it's loud and communication, everything else, like, you can't have some of these errant snaps. And like, the thing I feel better about is just Joey is so cool, calm, and collected. Like, even if you have some bad snaps, whatever, it's not going to shake him or anything else. Like, he's going to be fine. But it hasn't been smooth sailing for Sam Pendleton at center thus far. Doesn't mean it's gonna be okay, but it's just, we don't know yet. And we'll learn a lot more on Saturday afternoon in Starkville. Do you, now that we know the 3 permanent opponents, and pour one out for our guy Brett? It's been a rough week for friend of the program, Brett Dolander.
He's been sad all week, man.
Oh, it's just, we've been in mourning all week on the podcast. Like, he's probably gotten so many mentions from so many different people. Everyone knows what's been going on with Brett here. Like, Alex obviously coming on one day this week too, and poor guy back there with Brett for a whole day when this is going on. I mean, Brett, we love him, but he's been in a tough spot when it comes to Kentucky. And you and I are in agreement where, I mean, if we could play him twice, we would play Kentucky twice in one season. But Georgia, Florida, both gone. I mean, you're not going to go to Gainesville again until 2029, which is pretty crazy after this year. But who are you as a Tennessee fan going to miss most having on the schedule every year more, do you think? Florida or Georgia?
I think for me, it's going to be Florida. And I think it's because of the reason that you just said. And I think that almost puts, maybe not in the locker room, but as fans, it does. It puts more pressure on you to go win that game in the Swamp this year. Because, you know, you go back to 2003, and then now if it's not a permanent opponent, you got to kind of wait in the every other category to go out there. And so your trips to the swamp become kind of few and far between once you start to break it down a little bit more. And I think that's, at the end of the day, listen, Tennessee fans obviously want to go out there and beat Georgia and Florida, but I do feel like there's been kind of the element of Tennessee's program has kind of surpassed Florida, but you still feel like you can't exactly get that monkey off your back of going to beat a team like Florida that isn't playing their best right now in the swamp. And you've seen Tennessee teams before that have had more talent than Florida, have gone down there and lost the game. And so I feel like you're still kind of maybe chasing that carrot of Georgia right now. And you got real close this year in Neyland. But I still feel like it's almost like you're expected to go down there and beat Florida in the swamp, and you can't do it. And when there's more years separated in between that, I think that's going to kind of eat at this fan base a little bit.
I'm going the other way.
Okay.
I'm not going to miss Florida at all. I hate Florida. I hate the games themselves. Like, they've been all awful. Like, they're all miserable. Even when you win, it's miserable. Like, ask any Tennessee fan leaving last year. Did you feel good?
No.
Did you really feel good? If
No.
you were a Tennessee fan and you left 2 weeks ago in Georgia with a win, you feel great. You're like, yeah, what an electric game. So much fun. Like, even I have, like, the second half of the Georgia games at home the last 2 years before this year. This is the first Georgia game I didn't go to since I've been living here. But second half has been miserable. Like, you're like, all right, this is over. Kirby's on the death march here in the second half, and Tennessee's not scoring again. This is done. And you're like, all right, the sun's going down. It's about to get really cold. Let's get up and out of here. But you had some great moments. Like 2021, you were up after the first quarter. It was still like, there were some good moments. And obviously the Hail Mary victory with Josh Dobbs. And like, there are some recent fun memories of Tennessee, Georgia. And it's gone. I mean, you were winning that series before this streak with Georgia came out. Florida, this entire century, has been basically miserable. Like, even in the wins have been miserable. I mean, 22, they almost come all the way back. Even how great of a season Tennessee had that year, Florida had the ball with a chance to win outright after getting the onside kick and Richardson throwing in the end zone. Like, 23 was one of the most miserable Florida games in a while for a multitude of reasons. That one sucked. But you just go back through the list, and I'm like, this year, it might be Harrison Bailey under center for Florida with an interim coach, and Tennessee might go down in that way. Like, I am not going to miss. I understand. Like, I hate Florida. Like, I have stronger feelings about beating Florida than I do Georgia, but it's bad for so many Tennessee fans' well-beings. I just feel it in my core where I'm like, it's just awful. Like, everything about Tennessee, Florida is awful this century. So I'm going to enjoy a break. I'm going to enjoy some time off. I don't need it every year.
I'm with you on like hey, it's probably going to be nice to not do it every single year with them because I mean, it does kind of just drive you to the brink of insanity a little bit. And you're right. Like, even that win last year, you kind of, as soon as the clock hit zero, you just go, it's an exhale moment. And it's like, I think maybe once you kind of go and get that win down in the swamp, hopefully it's this year, maybe some Tennessee fans can kind of let up off that of like, hey man, there's so much pressure to go out there and beat Florida. If you can go do it this year, I'd hope that maybe some of those expectations get tempered a little bit. But yeah, we know Brett's not gonna want to give that one up that easy.
Sam, if they don't win in Florida this year, that might be a CFP eliminator. Can you imagine being eliminated from the CFP with a?
I don't even want to think about it.
That's where the schedule is right now for them. Like, that's
what,
real.
That's what John's been, patting himself on the back. He's like, I told you that Florida was going to be our trap game, and it's because they were having a terrible season, and it's going to be tough to go down there and get something done in there. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's an opportunity that you don't even want to think about it, and you want to hope that you can kind of take care of business all the way until there, and hope that even if you do lose that, it might be able to be like a bit of a game that kind of gives you some. It's like the last bit of rope that you can kind of let go of and still have playoff hopes. But let's just go down there and win and not even think about it.
I mean, I'm right there with you, but just I won't be looking forward to it. That whole week is just going to be miserable.
Miserable.
26, though. When you look at the home slate, which game are you most excited to have on the docket home-wise for Tennessee?
That's a hard question to answer because all of them are good.
Yeah.
I think it's hard not to say Texas, though, because, I think – especially from what you've seen so far from Texas and Arch Manning this year. The comments kind of before the season started of, Arch isn't even going into the draft this year. He's got a lot more to work towards. And you probably have seen that, he could probably use another year of starting college. We'll see where the season goes, but I think it's a very real possibility that you've got a Manning in an opposing uniform coming to Neyland Stadium. And I think, whether it's Faison Brandon starting or one of the top transfer portal quarterbacks that you go out and get, I think there's a ton of intrigue around that matchup. And then just obviously those two fan bases, kind of the battle for the UT. It's hard for me not to say Texas.
Did you forget that Kentucky's in Neyland next year?
Maybe a beer barrel.
Can you imagine? I mean, the rivalry is already electric enough, but if you bring back the beer barrel for that game, like Peyton brings it out, like Peyton was like, I've had it all along.
It's been in my basement.
Yeah, like he's just like, I forgot. Like I my bad. Like hand up, my bad.
I had an old storage unit. We were moving and we dusted this one off, and just so happened to find the beer in the beer barrel in the back.
Like what? I got a lot of storage facilities. I got a lot of stuff. Like I'm a Manning. Like I got a lot of stuff, and it was just here one day, and I found it. So I'm bringing it back. That'd be great. I think
I kind of thought that Kentucky was implied as my favorite home game,
right?
Just such a long-standing tradition that it would be something that just everyone was already getting up for.
Can I say the one thing that, and I don't think a lot of Vol fans probably would agree with this, but I'm like, I'm really actually kind of ticked off that we get Arkansas on the road again. You've lost 6 straight. 2 years ago last year was awful, but it'll be 2 years in between. We'll see how it goes this year, but I could have done without another trip to Fayetteville, which has been another quiet house of horrors for Tennessee, because you're already going to College Station, which is really tough to win. We'll see what time the South Carolina game's at. Hopefully an afternoon or early. They're having a bad season. We don't have to go to Columbia at night, but that's a sneaky one where I'm like, didn't want that one on the list because it's a tough home schedule, and I didn't want Arkansas there.
I know that it's nice that you will essentially only have 3 away games in that 26 season because you're going to play at Vanderbilt, and that's always a home game for you.
Nope, have you, hopefully.
I totally agree with you. Like Arkansas historically always is a trip up spot for Tennessee. South Carolina, we've seen what happened there in 22, and then A&M, just not an easy place to go out there and win. So you have all that talent coming into your home, your home environment, which you feel like you've done a great job of playing in Neyland Stadium, but I don't think it's, unrealistic to say you're going to slip up once or twice, maybe at home, and then you've got those road games. I think you quickly see once you switch to the 9-game conference schedule that the SEC 9-game conference schedule much more difficult than the one over there in the Big Ten.
I imagine Heupel's not excited that he doesn't get Drinkwitz in Neyland until 29.
Yeah.
Like that's tough.
And he probably won't even be there in 2029.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, we'll see. Bigger return for Tennessee against Arkansas, Hobbs or McCoy, with both trending that way.
It's got to be Jermod McCoy for me. I mean, I think, Ty Redmond's been a good story of like a young guy that was unheralded in the recruiting class and has come in and really kind of carved a role out for this team. And, then the Ricky injury happens, and Redmond and Colton Hood kind of being those 2 stars to emerge that maybe you didn't think were going to have as big of a role. But now with the way that Colton Hood's playing, you get yourself a first-team All-American back that's, everyone's saying is a first-round draft pick. Colton Hood now getting mocked into the first round. Like the ability to have 2 first-round corners on the outside when you're sitting at 16th in the league in pass defense right now. And frankly, I know that maybe the depth hasn't been as good as it was last year, but that defensive line, I still believe, is second in the SEC in sacks right now as well. So to me, bolster that secondary, get your first-team All-American back, and just have the best cornerback duo in the country, really, with him and Colton Hood, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Willie Martinez, everyone in Vol Nation gives him way too much grief. He's somewhat, to hit back-to-back home runs in the portal with his evals at corner with Jermod last year and Colton Hood this year, where both could be first-round guys, is just unbelievable. And great job by him developing, people remember, Ricky Gibson was not higher ranked than Jordan Matthews in his class. Mm-hmm. And Matthews has had a tough week with some absolute nonsense this week on the Vanderbilt side of things. But that's one of those deals where it's just like he knows what he's looking for. Ty Redmond, I think, was the second or maybe lowest ranked recruit in that class, in his class. But I remember talking to Andrew Ivins at 247 Sports 2 weeks ago, and he was like, we had him as a border 4-star. Obviously he played at a powerhouse at Milton, so he's like, there's stuff to like. But again, true freshman, he's been thrown in a tough spot, and he's just fine. Like, he's developing really well and looks like a long-term piece for Tennessee. But Yeah, I think it's Jermod. I think with being able to slide Dominic Bailey inside now, like the foursome of Moy, Eason, Bailey, and Robinson, if they're all healthy, I feel a lot better about that rotation in the interior. Like Hobbs will be the cherry on top, but I think it has to be Jermod just because they don't rotate there, and I just don't expect them to rotate more, even though I've been begging them to at least split the snaps between McMurray and Redmond there. It just doesn't seem like that's how they operate. So if that's the case, then I need Jermod, because that might be the best cornerback tandem, not just in the SEC, but one of the best in the country with those two.
I think it is the best one in the country if you get, Jermod back healthy. And yeah, I mean, I just think what you're able to do at that point, with the defensive line that Rodney Garner is going to have his group ready, even if it doesn't have maybe kind of the names on paper that you're kind of talking about, maybe compared to a last year. But yeah, when you can combine those guys and kind of their versatility and their ability to rotate in and out of there, and then you add in a first-team All-American in that secondary to already go along with a guy in Colton Hood that, has been skyrocketing up draft boards and surprising not only people around the country, but a lot of Tennessee fans as well. To me, that's one that gives you a lot of hope about, hey, you kind of have lost some of your leeway with the early loss to Georgia, but you did it with a team that was pretty banged up, and, you get Moy back, you get Hobbs back, you hopefully get Jermod McCoy back. And now all of a sudden that defensive group that was really kind of a crutch to you, just injury wise, starts to become a strength, and an offense that clearly has improved from last year as well to boot. So you got to feel good about just being able to get McCoy back, I think, and just kind of the overall ceiling of this team after that.
Final thing. What's your official prediction? Have you thrown it out already for Mississippi State, Tennessee on Saturday?
Yeah, it's been I've had a final score burned in my head all week. I think this is going to be a game kind of trading scores early. I think you'll see both teams just that play kind of a similar style, and I think it'll be just a kind of back and forth fight for a little bit. But I just think the depth of that Tennessee team and a little bit more talent still reigns true. I know that spread is creeped down from like 10 to 7.5. I think this is a game where you kind of get trapped on the hook. I have Tennessee winning 34-27 in this game.
So Mississippi State covering, but just barely.
Yeah.
I think this is I'm with you. I think it's a one score game no matter what. Like you're going to, sorry folks, like you're going to be sweating this one out with 5 minutes to go. Like I would love a calm, just nice lead into Bama, Georgia, so I can just settle in and I'm not just like my nerves are just fried, but I don't see any way my nerves are not fried from this game on Saturday.
I can see like a Tennessee being up 2 scores and then Mississippi State kind of gets the ball and makes it a 1-score game. And then it's like, that you kind of have control of the game, but it just never feels certain, and then you kind of look up at the very end of it and you're like, oh, I made a bet on Tennessee, are we going to cover this football game? And it's like, oh no, we're only going to win it by a touchdown. And I think some people are going to be upset by that, but I think this is a game that you just have to kind of classify as, hey, it's a weird game against a team that has been playing obviously better than they were last season. Still not probably as good as you are, but just kind of a weird trap game kind of spot. That wide out, all the cowbells rolling. That's just kind of a get out alive and prepare for next week type of game to me.
I love it. Sam Beard, what can the good folks check out from you over at Talk Sports and your SEC podcast over there on FanRun Radio?
Yeah, check us out. Talk Sports, 8 to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday over there on Fox Sports Knoxville. And then, catch me. It gets posted on Fox Sports Knoxville, SoundCloud, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. The Southeastern Conversation pumping out episodes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Mondays are kind of weekend recap days. Wednesday, I've been power ranking the conference week by week. And then Fridays are kind of those weekend previews, getting you ready for a loaded college football slate each week.
I love it. Sam, keep up the great work, my friend. And we will check back in again soon.
Appreciate you, Chase. Good to see you, man.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.